Well, if you read that headline on Sunday, you can probably sum up the Stanford game in a nutshell. You say it's the ugliest half of basketball you've ever seen.
Well, the first half many times sets the tempo for the game itself, and the way we started that game and the way it ended was bad from the start. And I would classify it, at least in my tenure at Oregon State, as the worst half of basketball I've ever been associated with.
Well, judge for yourself. Let's go to Maples Pavilion, the Beavers and Stanford. Now, the first time around, as you recall up here, Stanford played very poorly. Their big men were not a factor at all in the Beaver victory. And now with Andy Vlahoff out of action, maybe that's given Adam Keefe a little more room to work. Of course, Will Brantley out of the Beaver lineup. Close start early on. In fact, OSU has a 3-point lead. And then Adam Keefe gets going, and boy, by himself, he was a machine. 13 of 16 shooting, 29 points, 8 rebounds. He's everywhere in this first half.
Well, Adam Keefe is a great player, probably the best big man in our conference. However, if you let him have the ball easily on the post play, and you can see from this picture here that there was nobody in front contesting the pass, you let him have post entry, he'll shoot 13 for 16 every night.
Stanford builds up not a huge lead in the first half, but what really happened here was both offenses sputtering, but for OSU, can't hit a shot. There's a 7-minute stretch there where OSU doesn't score at all. Stanford only manages to score 7 points, and truly a model of frustration. You see the missed shots, Stanford throws the ball away out of bounds.
Well, that certainly compounds the felony, so to speak, when you're not shooting well and then you turn the ball over and you're not making good decisions. All of a sudden the whole thing falls apart, and that's what the first half was. It was just a piece of fall apart action.
Chad Scott with a 3-pointer breaks the drought, but it just keeps coming here. A scramble on the floor. Carl Anderson drops the ball. Mario will save it, but inbounds to Stanford, and they'll score on the other end. And it was like this.
Yeah. It wasn't fun.
And any game when you know you're being when you out turnover the opponent, 16 turnovers for OSU, 11 for the opponent. That's always a bad day because that doesn't happen much.
Well, when you figure that for 93 games we've always been in double figures assists. In this game we had 7, so that's indicative of the poor play, and I can't give any excuses for it. The coaches really have to take the responsibility of their players, and it's just a shame that we haven't got the point across that assists is the name of the game and passing is how you do it.
Stanford gets ahead by 18 points with 9.5 minutes to go, and then the light goes on. OSU will score 12 straight. Scott draws the foul, 3-point play, and then Kevin Harris will get a couple here, one on the layup. He also hits the 3-pointer, but a 12-0 run, and it does not take long, about 4 minutes, and you're very much back in and out, down by 5-6 points.
Right. We had them very, very concerned about the way we got back in the game, and a couple timeouts, and the clock really, we had them on the move. Here again, though, right at the end, when we had a chance, we make a couple bad mistakes, and then the game's over. 2
fouls on the pressure defense really told the story there. Bob Cabell got it down to 5 there, and that was as close as it was. Nice give inside to Scott, got it to 5 again, but a couple of fouls in the pressure defense very early when you had a little time. Just little things like that, and that cut down the comeback. And you see the last basket there by Scott, but Stanford will hang on for a deceptive, maybe, 5-point victory, 64-59. It was hard to, I don't know, did you feel that you had a chance to win the game there?
Yes, very much so. In fact, you could feel the tension mount in the gymnasium, and you could tell the coach and players were quite concerned, and it could have flip-flopped very easily in those last few minutes.
So it's 0 for the Bay Area, a split now in the season series with both Cal and Stanford, and on the road one more time this week. First, let's go and check the Pac-10 standings now as we hit the midway point of the season. And of course, the schedule is lopsided this year with both the Arizona matchups coming up at the very end of the season. If you lose 2 games, you're still tied for second place. What is this Pac-10 all about?
Well, it's a lot of 5s and 4s right now on both sides of the ledger.
And you've got Washington State, surprising, but they've beaten some people now. California playing up to their capabilities. Stanford playing to their capabilities. Maybe the Ducks and UCLA are the teams we're waiting for to get in the groove.
Right. Well, USC right now, I heard Ravlimek, he thinks they're going to be in the top 4, so they're going to make their move too, I guess.
Okay, we'll write that down, save that for March. Well, coming up, we'll talk to our Player of the Week. We'll also be visiting with Ralph Miller, but we'll meet our Player of the Week. It is Kevin Harris, the man off the bench, who is very quietly making his mark as a long-distance shooter, not to mention a shot blocker. Stay with us.
Sports Channel presents RCA's Sports Blunder Video Contest. Have your funniest home sports videos shown on TV and win valuable prizes. Each month, we'll give away a 20-inch RCA Color TV, 2 tickets to a pro or college sporting event, and a Sports Channel t-shirt. Each month's first prize winner will compete for an RCA home theater. Send your funny homemade sports videos to RCA's Sports Blunder Video Contest, P.O. Box 555, Emerson, New Jersey, 07630. Entry should be no longer than 5 minutes and on VHS tape only. Contest ends June 28, 1991.
Hank Greenwald for the #1 store for sportswear and gifts, Giants Dugout. For authentic Major League, NFL, and NBA gear, it's the Giants Dugout. Parkas and jackets from Starter, pro caps from New Era, tees and sweats from Winterland, and authentic jerseys from Rawlings. Gift certificates, too. There are 5 Dugout stores: San Francisco, Daly City, Palo Alto, San Jose, and the newest in Santa Rosa. Everything you want in pro sportswear and more at the Giants Dugout.
USF plays St. Mary's Saturday at 8.
Our feature player this week is Kevin Harris, the sophomore guard from Sunset, who we keep seeing a little bit more of each and every week. I know you started the season kind of as the defensive replacement along with Bob Cavell. And at what point did you think, hey, these 3-pointers aren't too hard?
Beginning of the year, I wasn't exactly hitting them too well, obviously. And then I think it was probably the Washington game when I came in the second half and we were down by, I think, 9 points. And I was able to hit a couple 3-pointers. And then actually from that game on, I've shot pretty well.
What is it that builds the confidence? I know people always joke about injuries. Something doesn't bother you as much if you hit that first shot coming off the bench. Do you always need that first shot?
Yeah, that's a big key, always hitting the first shot, because it gives you the confidence and the momentum for the rest of the game. But I think it doesn't have to be the first shot. It can be a big defensive play you made, or a rebound. Just as long as you're getting the flow of the game, and once you get the feel of the game, I think you're confident.
I know you've been very proud of Kevin all year. You've constantly brought up his accomplishments from day one, and this is obviously beyond expectations right now.
Well, Kevin's a hard worker, and I think confidence comes with the ability to know that you can go out there and work as hard as anybody else on the floor, that you'll give up your body and dive for loose balls, and I think Kevin is really the standard that I think student athletes should be, because he works hard in everything he does. He's a good student, he's a good person, and he gets after the basketball the way good competitors do, and he's a real plus for the Beavers.
And now you get a couple of starts here, and the opportunity with Will out. Will's going to be back, but you're still getting that vote of confidence this week. How do you take the starts now? What do you want to take on from that?
Unfortunately, I have to start, obviously, because Will is hurt, and it hurts the team. I mean, Will's a big asset to the team, and I can't do a lot of things that Will can do. But I just hope to get in there and do as much as I can to help the team, whatever I can. I don't have the defensive ability sometimes, maybe, to make the big plays or the dunks, but hopefully I can do the little things that he can.
Would you start maybe setting your sights a little higher as this goes
along?
Yeah,
I think improvement is the key, and I think I've been getting better each game as it goes along, but hopefully we can just start getting some W's now.
Well, that's about right. I think you've gotten better as it's gone along. Kevin Harris, our feature player this week. I want to take our trip back to visit with Coach Ralph Miller. Remember him? He's an author these days. Just completed his book, Spanning the Game, along with Seattle sports writer Bud Withers, who of course covered Oregon State for years with the Eugene Register Guard. Talked with Ralph this past weekend about his book and the response to it.
I think both of us felt reasonably well satisfied with the book, because it reads easy, it's not complicated. We try to be positive throughout the book, stay away from the negative attributes regardless of what happened. So, as stated, we think, it came out all right as far as we're concerned.
I know you say you hate rating your teams and rating players, and that was the one
Oh,
thing
I didn't
Bud
want-
wanted to insert into the book that you
That's
never did.
strictly Bud's idea. This is something, as you well know, people in the media have been trying to get me to do for years. And I still wouldn't do it the way they would like to have it. They would like to pick 5 guys and say, hey, these are my 5 best. But I don't know that I'm even capable of making a selection of 5, because the value of each one of these people, the things they did, the contribution was so much different. And I said, the only way I'm going to do this is to let me pick the best offensive group, a best defensive group that we had. Now, of course, some of them could go on either group as far as that's concerned.
I know you told me, I think right after your last game in Tucson that year, that if to be remembered, you wanted to be remembered as a teacher.
Sure.
Is that,
Well,
that,
I
that
like-
endure
I like-
for you?
Somebody today said to me, which I appreciated, boy, you sure did a good job of teaching Jimmy. But that's true. I think the game, as you well remember, very simple. There's nothing complicated. It's like one little statement, cliche, that we've always used. You know, you don't teach people how to win, really. You teach them how not to give away the victory. Then the wins will take care of themselves. And the losses always occur for 3 reasons. Either you just played horrible defense, let people score too easily. You gave them too many second shots off the backboard, or you had too many turnovers.
Oh, we've heard about all those things before. The game remains the same, doesn't it?
Well, it surely does, and that's probably for our 3 games right now are things that we're doing just like Coach Miller said. Those three things are happening to us.
Well, I know last year it kind of got out by the end of the year, but there had been those 1 or 2 odd phone calls to Black Butte, and you were checking with him for a little advice or maybe just sharing a few thoughts. Do you still do that? Do you still talk with him?
Well, we're good friends, and that's the best part about the whole thing. But Ralph is one of these people that doesn't want to interfere. He doesn't want to be a kind of a thorn in the side. So he stays pretty clear, really. But if I need him, I know where to find him.
And I know it's kind of turned out to be almost a pretty clean break as far as
Right.
personnel from being Ralph's team and maybe Gary Payton's team, and now it is truly your team this year.
Right.
So has that been comfortable for you?
Well, it's been very comfortable for me, and I feel it's been made comfortable because of the acceptance and also because of the way Ralph handled his situation when he did leave.
You have your copy of the book yet?
Have my copy of the book. I'm very proud of it. He autographed it, and I have some friends reading it right now, too. That's cost them some money there because they don't have to buy it.
I know I got my copy from him, and of course, after being chastised in a locker room a couple of times over the years, he signed it. Do you have any more stupid questions for me? I hope not.
Right.
Coming up next, we'll talk about the opposition for this week. Yep, it's them Ducks again, round 3 of the Civil War. We'll preview it when we come back.
If this were the only reason to come to Alabama, it'd still be worth every minute. But in Alabama, you'll find one surprise after another. Enough surprises to fill a vacation. Enough memories to last a lifetime. For your free book of surprises, call us toll-free right now. Alabama. Special moments you want to keep forever.
See Hockey Night America every Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, only on the Sports Channel America Network. Turn on your network home for Fighting Irish sports and see Digger Phelps and Notre Dame take on the nation's best in college basketball. See Notre Dame on your home for Fighting Irish sports. Sports Channel America.
Because of the vagaries of the Pac-10 schedule, you're playing the Ducks 3 times in 6 weeks. That's got to drive you nuts.
Well, it's not easy to ever play the Ducks because it is a very emotional game. The fact that we're playing them now on a Wednesday makes preparation relatively easy because we've already played them twice. So you bring out the old files and you look at the films, and so preparation isn't as difficult when you play them more than just once.
Is this team much different from early on in the season? They're still working with pretty much just the 6 or 7 players.
They're pretty much the same team. Some of the younger players now, like Jordy Lyden, one of their freshmen, has gotten better. He's shooting the ball and being a more impact player for them, and it's really helping their ball club. But in essence, it's Lucas and that little teeny guy they have down there. What's his name?
Brandon, I believe.
Yeah,
Well, it's time. It's time for the scouting report on the Oregon Ducks, and with that, we head for assistant coach Andy McCloskey and a little chalk talk on the Ducks.
Okay, what I'm going to cover today is the University of Oregon's man-to-man offense. This is just one of their sets that they like to run, this offset here with a high post man and a low post man. One of their favorite ways to get into this shaded area, which is the area that they're trying to attack, one of their favorite ways is a corner series where Brandon throws the ball here to Lyden. He runs through to the corner. The ball then goes from Lyden to Bob Fife here at the high post. At that time, Brandon will run off Lucas's screen into this shaded area that they're trying to attack. For second look after Lucas has set this screen is to look for a high post pass to Lucas down low. Their last option off this, Lyden will come like this, more or less set a running screen, and they'll split the post here with Mixon coming off for the jump shot opportunity. The difficult thing about trying to guard the University of Oregon is this set is if this all breaks down, you give it to number 10 right here, he's very, very hard to guard.
Now, the thing about Oregon, too, this past weekend, they had really been struggling, but they beat Cal in Berkeley and got into the pushing and shoving with them. Fisher first gets into it with Lucas, later mouthed off a bit at Coach Munson, and the Ducks handled all that and finished very strong and won down there, so that certainly turned their season around.
Well, it was a great win for them, especially after Cal had just beaten Arizona and us. So this was a good win for the Ducks. You give them credit because they really played tough down the stretch, and that's where most games are won or lost.
Number 10 is Terrell Brandon, still leading the Pac-10 in scoring, averaging 27 a game. There's Jordy Lyden, the freshman from Beaverton. Munson's given him the time all season. It's really paying off. He keyed the comeback against Cal. And they go inside to the big fellow Lucas, and he is always tough, and he's played well against OSU.
Lucas is a fine player. He's very unheralded, and I give him credit for Oregon really having a fine team. He's very aggressive inside. He's a good rebounder. He's the leading percentage shooter in the Pac-10, and that is something.
Now, this year you lose to them in Portland. You beat them here, but very close. So this is one of those anything can happen, and it's at their place.
Well, I'm sure the odds makers are going to give them maybe 8-point favorites on this, but for us to win, we're going to have to go down there and play very aggressive. And number one, we have to play intelligent, and sometimes that's very hard for us to do at this point. But if we'll play smart basketball and play hard, we have a chance, I think, down at Eugene.
Ducks and Beavers, round 3. We'll talk about it next week, so join us next time on The Jimmy Anderson Show.
Do you need a car? Listen, each year government agencies auction sell.
This is the Jimmy Anderson Show, the weekly report on Oregon State University basketball. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Akamian, along with the coach. Welcome to this week's show. After an 8-day break, I know you're dying to get back out on the game floor here against the Huskies on Thursday night, and had a lot of time to think about this 4-game losing streak right now, but you're very eager to shake out of.
Well, you certainly don't like to linger on losses, but this has been like 4 long weeks that we've gone through here in a losing fashion. So right now we're trying to get back to the practice floor and get back to fundamentals, get back to playing hard-nosed defense, and hope that with our home court advantage here that we can get a couple wins against the Washington schools this weekend.
The slate stands at 11 up and 9 down through 20 games, 5-5 in the midst of a big tie in the Pac-10 standings. We'll show you the standings a little later on. The one game of last week was Wednesday night, national television at Mack Court in Eugene against the Oregon Ducks. The third meeting between the two schools this year. We'll pick up first half action right now. Maybe not your favorite building to go into, but actually the Beavers have played well at Mack Court in the last 5 years.
Well, over the last 5 years we've won quite a few games there. Some of them real Donnybrooks and some of them cliffhangers where you hit a shot right at the buzzer. But this certainly was a game that wasn't ours from the very start, and both Brandon and Lucas were too big of forces for us to handle.
Richard Lucas, even more so. He seems to be the real Beaver killer over the years. He's played very well against OSU.
Well, he's very aggressive, and he just seems to beat us on the offensive boards, and he gets his scoring in deep, and he just seems to outwork us every time we play against him.
Right off the bat, 4 block shots in the early going. Scott gets Lucas, Mario gets Lucas, Brantley blocks against 5, but the offense does not get in sync at all in this game.
Well, we do get a pretty good start defensively, and then all of a sudden, I think they contributed it to missing shots, and we contributed to good defense. However, as the game wore on, we just got a little less effective, and people like Lucas on that gets an offensive stuff, so you can see that we had our problems.
Will Brantley was back in action for the first time. He did not start, but came off the bench very quickly. Had his moments, but you could tell was still a little troubled by the ankle.
Well, he seemed to limp on it quite a bit, but I thought he was effective. He had 15 points and played reasonable defense, but everybody we tried to defense, Brandon had no luck whatsoever. We tried 3 or 4 different players, and he either made the hoop or got an assist.
While Brandon started out very slow, he missed his first 6 shots, gets the assist there on Lucas's slam. Again, on the offense, kind of a crazy play here. It's tipped in, I think, by Kevin Mixon of the Ducks, but it's a Beaver hoop. Brandon, meanwhile, sits down for 2 minutes, which he never does in the first half. He's 0 for 6, and then he comes back with a vengeance, hitting 4 out of 4 shots. Now this allows the Ducks to open up a 10-point lead late in the first half. Early on, you did have the opportunities because Oregon's offense was sputtering as well.
Well, it's a very difficult place to play, and they were ready to play. I thought we were, but certainly got fooled because we did not play the defense that you need to play. Silly turnovers such as this one that you saw on the screen and other little things that happened to us just didn't give us a chance to get into the win column at all.
7 turnovers in the first half, very uncharacteristic. The Ducks also dominating the boards, a lot of offensive board action by Lucas, and at halftime it is 36-29 for the Ducks. So all in all, being down by 7 at this point, Will gets that 3-point play. Not in a terrible situation, but you've really got to push the button now.
Right. At halftime, you know, the talk was our own execution, trying to play better defense, and there wasn't any reason for panic because if you get things put together, that margin really wasn't that significant. But as we know, it got worse.
Exactly. Terrell Brandon just was getting warmed up, and we'll show you what he did in the second half. We'll be back with second half highlights from Civil War Round 3 in just a moment.
Ready?
Okay.
When you own a car, you expect to pay for things like
Oil changes.
good and
Windshield. Wiper blades.
right, but with your Ford dealer's California Car Care warranty, you pay.
Nothing. Really?
Really, it covers the entire car, parts and labor for.
2 years or 24,000 miles?
So virtually all you pay for is.
Gas? Wow.
And it's all yours at no extra charge.
Hey, that's me.
Just buy or lease any new 91 Escort Pro or Tempo, but you better hurry because this offer ends soon. See your Ford dealer today.
See for yourself.
If this were the only reason to come to Alabama, it'd still be worth every minute. But in Alabama, you'll find one surprise after another. Enough surprises to fill a vacation. Enough memories to last a lifetime. For your free book of surprises, call us toll-free right now. Alabama. Special moments you want to keep forever.
Sports Channel features the best in Bay Area basketball this Saturday. The USF Dons, led by Tim Owens, get a chance for revenge on their home court against Ray Taylor and the Santa Clara Broncos. Tune in Saturday at 8 for Santa Clara against USF.
Wednesday nights, take a closer look at America's future Olympic stars on U.S. Olympic Showcase. America's top amateur athletes prepare for Olympic Games in Barcelona and Albertville every Wednesday, only on the Sports Channel America Network.
That's a 7-point game as we begin the second half. And again, the offense sputters, and Oregon gets right off of it early on. And the game gets away in the first 5 minutes of the second half. We'll pick up the highlights here, and we'll let the coach talk about the offense as it goes along. Will Brantley gets it going, and Teo Alabegovic does get warmed up.
Well, he ended up with 26 points, which is a good offensive night, but in your matchups, you always try to compare who they're checking and see how the comparison is. And well, he was on Lucas, so Lucas had one of his better nights, 7 offensive board and 20 points. And so it was pretty much a neutralized position, even though Teo had 26 points.
See, Chad Scott here follow up a shot, and Chad's been a guy who's been conspicuously missing in action as far as he's not getting the ball in the offensive position, but he was earlier in the season.
Well, you know, it's a two-way street. To be able to get involved in the offense, you have to move and cut and get into the hole so that we can get you the ball. And if you stand around, then all of a sudden you're not going to be involved because you're not in the action. And this is one thing as a young player we're trying to get him to do more of, and that's be mobile and be active so that you can be part of the offense.
Saw Will Brantley break down a little bit there. He rolled that ankle a little bit on his own. Didn't keep him out of the game much, though.
No, but it did look like it at the time. I thought, oh, he's done for the evening. But right off that, he was challenged, and he got up and went pretty hard on it.
Ducks score 10 in a row, get ahead by 16. And again, this puts them in control. Frustration showing here on the break after a nice turnover. Mario misses a jam.
Well, that usually happens. When it goes bad, it really goes bad, and it just seemed to be like a snowball effect, and all of a sudden the ball is rolling and it's not rolling our way.
Teo gets the margin down to 7 points. He also gets a 3-point play, 63-56 at that point, and then it is all Terrell down the stretch, and even after that terrible start for him, ends up with 32 points, and they were loving it at backcourt.
Well, I think he's had a total of 99 points in 3 games against us, and that's pretty good production when you're talking about over a 3-game series.
I know. I talked to him on Monday night at the Oregonian banquet, and he's jacked to play in these games, and you know, he knows he's carrying a big load. But to his credit for this team, he and Lucas both are really doing an outstanding job this season.
Well, you have to give Brandon most of the credit, because he handles so many things for him. But then also Lucas, on the other hand, handles the boards and the defensive post play, gets his own scoring, and gives them aggressive leadership. And those things are things that really make a solid team.
Carl Anderson, and off the bench, gets 6 points late, and they act like they just won the national championship. Oregon is 10-10 after this victory. They win 2 out of 3 in the Civil War Series this year, and that other coach there made the comment about that he had the better team, at least for that night.
Well, there's no question about it. Leave it at that.
Teo with the 26 points, again, a good offensive night for him. Rebounding, though, this is a big turnaround from recent weeks, and you see Lucas there with the 11 boards to go with his 20 points. But rebounding, the turnover numbers, which have been so much in your favor this year, that really tells you what happened in this game.
Well, you get 7 offensive boards, and most of those are putbacks. That's a lot of points to make up, and that's giveaway points. So that's one of the things we've been trying to work on in regards to our practice time. Let's take care of the backboards.
The record again, 11-9 on the year, 5-5 in the Pac-10. Let's look at these conference standings and know your eyes are not deceiving you. That is 5 teams with 500 records right now. Arizona, of course, winning in overtime at UCLA, huge victory for them, really gives them the whip. Look at those Cougars in second place. That's hard to believe, but they are definitely for real.
Yeah, surprise team. They're tough to beat.
And now here's all these other teams: Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, the Ducks, and UCLA, and probably Arizona State right now, and all these teams have postseason aspirations, at least the NIT. Everyone's got a shot at that still.
Well, everybody thinks because of their preseason slate and those games being relatively tough will fit into the power factor. So if you finish up strong now in the last few games, you still have a chance.
You have that same feeling with 8 games left?
Why not?
And you were telling me earlier, you feel like, I mean, it's not just NIT, but I mean, there's that NCAA potential.
Right. That's the thing you all work for, is the NCAA berth. And with 8 games left, if you can still win at home and split on the road, you're right there in that upper division and you have a chance.
Well, coming up, we're going to visit with our feature player of the week. It is Salem's own Bob Cavil, and we'll take a look back with Danny Evans, the former would-be dunker, now turned coach. Stay with us.
Sports Channel presents RCA's Sports Blunder Video Contest, where you could have your funny home sports videos shown on TV and win valuable prizes. January's winners have been chosen. Second prize goes to Debbie Urwinski from Tinley Park, Illinois, who shot this classic video of her son, 11-year-old Jason. He's headed for an easy 50-yard touchdown when, oops, he forgot to hold on to the football. Or maybe someone just greased up the old pigskin. Well, Jason didn't score, but his mom, Debbie Urwinski, will receive 2 tickets to a pro or college sporting event. January's first prize, a 20-inch RCA color television, goes to Dave Moscal from Strongville, Ohio. A friend dropped by Dave's indoor golf lesson range to knock some kinks out of his stroke, but instead ended up knocking a few holes in the drywall. His swing is fine, but his sense of direction is terrible. Dave discovered the destructive deed, but the bluffing duffer denied doing the damage.
I see there was a couple of holes there before. That takes the cake. I saw the holes before you.
After the first ball got stuck in the wall, maybe our golfer should have been a bit suspicious. As a monthly winner, Dave Moscal has qualified for the grand prize drawing, an RCA home theater, including an RCA 27-inch color TV, RCA camcorder, and RCA VCR. If you haven't entered yet, it's not too late to get in on the fun and prizes. Each month, we'll give away a 20-inch RCA color TV, 2 tickets to a pro or college sporting event, and a Sports Channel t-shirt. Call 1-800-825-YOU-WIN for complete contest rules. Or send your funny homemade sports videos to RCA Sports Blunder Video Contest, P.O. Box 555, Emerson, New Jersey, 07630. Entry should be no longer than 5 minutes and on VHS tape only. Contest ends June 28, 1991.
Our feature player this week is Bob Cavil, the senior forward out of McNary, who has quietly been building himself a spot on the bench and a spot coming off playing defense and taking his shots there. If anything else, probably they'd like to see you shoot the ball a little more, but you've had a good season coming off and teaming with Kevin Harris playing that defense.
Oh yeah, I think my season's going real well, and I'm not playing as much as I'd like to, but as long as we're doing the things we need to do, so be it.
It's one of
a team player.
It's one of those things too with the younger players who've come in. I mean, there were more. We probably didn't think there'd be this many people contributing at any one time either.
Oh yeah, the younger players are doing a good job, and you got to look towards the future now with them because there's some great young players coming up.
Let's talk about your game. You were such a long-distance gunner in high school, and we had those great showdowns with you and Carty through your final couple of years at Corvallis and McNary, and it's a different feel now. You're a defensive specialist, but you do a good job with that.
Oh yeah, my role's a lot different now than it was in high school, just for the simple fact that I'm not the go-to guy like I was in high school. But you know, I'm pleased with the way the season's going, and hopefully we can get some wins from now on.
I know your coach is pretty pleased too with the lift you've given him.
Bobby is one of our most valuable players because he's Mr. Utility. I can use him in a lot of different spots. He's a very intelligent player. He knows basketball. And so we can make adjustments when Bobby goes in the game. We can change defenses. He can get us into some of our offensive schemes that we need at any particular time. And he gives good leadership on the floor, and he's a great hustler. So what more can you ask of a senior when he's trying to do his very best?
I know when you go in, too, it's more common in the pros where there's a lot of get-hot guys. You get put in a lot of times into the first half where you've got to make a play, and that's a little more unusual in college. What's that like getting used to?
Oh, the bench role. I've gotten used to it over the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm actually more comfortable now coming off the bench just because I've develop that mentality. Just get ready to play, learn from what everybody else is doing on the court, and I really feel like I can contribute that way just because I have the ability to see what's going on the court and use it to my advantage.
Now, you're one guy who's been here a few years, too, and this is a really different look, and people are getting used to seeing a Chad Scott and a Mario Jackson. What does this team feel like now?
Oh, for one thing, we're a lot closer just as a team off the court, and that goes a long ways in improving our games on the court. We don't have guys getting on each other. We're really enjoying the season, even though we've been going through a hard time the last month or so. We're still enjoying the season. We're looking to get out of this little slump.
I think you're going to take care of that this week, and Bobby's probably going to help you along.
Well, Bobby is not only a good basketball player, but he's a good student, and those things are very important to our program. He's now married. He has a lovely wife, Lori, and so he has a good support system, and I hope he'll just keep doing what he's doing, and that's help us get some more wins.
All right, we'll look forward to that down the stretch with the final 8 games on deck. Now, coming up right now, we'll take our look back. Danny Evans is the man in question. Danny, of course, familiar face in the early 80s on the floor. He's become a world traveler of late, spending the past several years in Europe as a coach, a scout, and even a player. And now he is back full-time coaching with the Oregon State women's program. Danny, I know you played for a Ralph Miller and Jimmy Anderson on his staff, and they put so much emphasis on teaching with their players. How much of that turned over into your coaching career as you began at first in Europe?
Well, I think it rubbed off as far as just the fundamental part or the aspect of the game. Like when I first came here out of high school, I mean, I remember I was like a wild-haired guy. You know, I had no control of my game, and I think that was the basic thing that they brought to my career as far as basketball. They taught me the different phases of the game that I definitely didn't know when I came here.
Talk about your experiences in Europe. I think you went over there as a player and ended up doing a little scouting almost and coaching.
Yes. I went over to Europe. I basically first got there, I went to Belgium. And there the coaches were pretty nice. I thought they were pretty good. And then I went to Sweden, which is where Ringmar is from, the guy that you were kind of speaking about. I recruited him basically because he was interested in coming to the United States to play some basketball and to college level. And I told him, I mean, there's no other place for you but Oregon State. And then I contacted a couple of coaches and told them, you know, and then they got in contact with him. And he was really interested in coming over here. As far as the coaching part, when you're over there, you have the different clubs, and you'll have like a women's team in your club, and you'll have like the little kids and stuff, which they have a club team. And really, during the day, I had nothing to do. I mean, I was pretty bored most of the time in the daytime, except for my practices. So to give me something else to do, I would go up and, you know, coach the women's team. I would coach the women's team, and I would coach a lot of the little youth programs that they had involved in the club also.
Talk about you and Michael now working together with the women's team with Aki Hill. It seems like the perfect combination of all your experiences. His as a recruiter and yours as a recruiter, and that's been a big thrust now in this first full year.
Yes, and I think mostly that I play major college basketball. I think that helps a lot, you know, as far as with the players. I think I'm more of maybe the players coach because I can relate to them maybe a little bit more as far as being a player myself. I play professionally. Well, I was an amateur over there, but it was kind of like, you know, you're playing for money, and everything is on the line almost every time when you go out.
And, you know, we touched on this, and people may not realize that it was Danny Evans who recruited Hank Ringmar. I mean, he made that contact, and he's the one that shipped the information over here to the coaching staff.
Right, and it was a good lead, and he's doing a nice job for us too. He's a good friend of Bob's now, and they spend some time together. And the fact that he is a big player helps a lot, and I think he's got a bright future. I think he's going to get nothing but better.
I'll tell you, they've really done a great job with the women's program. If you haven't heard about the exploits this year, he's come in with Michael Abraham, and they have really given Aki Hill a good, solid staff for recruiting and also the bench coaching.
Well, Danny knows basketball, and with his background, he's very personable. He likes to get out and recruit. And he has a nice family too. He has two little boys that run around, and so he's found a home, and we're very happy for Danny, and we're glad he's here.
You know, he's another guy off of those super teams from the early 80s, and there was so much talent then, and a lot of those guys took turns playing the roles. He and Mark Radford both played the same role at different times, and they really were interchangeable during their college days.
Well, Danny turned out to be a good defensive player. He was a very exciting player because you give him the ball and say, go ahead for it, and he could shoot from any place. And he'd get that hot hand. He could get you 10 to 20 points real quick.
And, of course, we were taking a look at him just now playing with Lester Connor, another name. That's three of those guys from that same era. Right. And they were really a terrible trio if you had to face them in the backcourt.
Yeah, they could press, and they were long-armed and relatively tall, 6'4", 6'5", and they made you work for everything on the floor.
Coming up, we'll take a look ahead at this weekend's opposition. The Cougs and the Huskies are coming south to play ball at Gill. Stay with us.
Do you need a car? Listen, each year government agencies auction, sell, and liquidate thousands of cars and trucks, and the bidding starts as low as $30. Government vehicles, luxury cars taken from drug dealers, criminals, and thousands more seized, repossessed, sold through bankruptcy proceedings. Now find out how you can grab the car you want at government liquidation and bankruptcy prices. Bid as low as $30 for Porsches, Mercedes, Ferraris, Corvettes, family cars, and trucks. Find out how to get the car you want now. Call 1-900-HOT-AUTO. That's 1-900-468-2886. Just $2 a minute.
Come on up to Squaw Valley in world-class winter sports, and come on up in a world-class 4x4 from your Ford dealer. America's best-selling compact pickup, best-selling full-size pickup, and best-selling sport utility are all Ford. No one has Ford's exclusive one-touch four-wheel drive, and nobody sells more 4x4s than your Ford dealer. The uphill battle goes to Ford. Downhill is between you and Squaw Valley.
Come on up and see for yourself.
Tune in Thursday night at 7:30 for UC Santa Barbara against Long Beach State.
Turn on your network home for Fighting Irish Sports and see Digger Phelps and Notre Dame take on the nation's best in college basketball. Notre Dame versus Creighton, live at 8 Eastern on Sports Channel America, Monday. Wednesday nights, take a closer look at America's future Olympic stars on U.S. Olympic Showcase. America's top amateur athletes prepare for Olympic Games in Barcelona and Albertville every Wednesday, only on the Sports Channel America.
Washington and Washington State coming to Gill Coliseum, and boy, those Cougars, you know, they won up there at their place by 22 points. And boy, we'd be thinking, gee, it's a terrible night for Oregon State, but that team has really made things stick, and Kelvin Sampson is doing it now with 5 newcomers starting. His junior college players, now he's starting 2 freshmen.
Well, he's done an excellent job, and it's speed and quickness that he has acquired into the program that is helping him probably more than anything. And the fact that he can play 5 new players and dislodge 3 starters, and now they're coming off the bench, so they have experience coming off the bench, 5 new players, quickness, and I think really they're the best defensive team in our conference.
I was going to say they're doing a lot of Oregon State things there. They're using their own pressure defense right now.
Right. In fact, they look like maybe we look like a mini them because they beat us by 22 points. But I think they're just a very exciting team, and they play Oregon first, and I'm happy for that. But I think they got a chance to stay at that second spot. This is a big weekend for them. It's a big weekend for us too.
Let's get the scouting report right now, the lowdown on the Cougar defense, and for that we go to Beaver assistant coach Jimmy Shaw.
Okay, this week's opponent, Washington State University, is one we've played once previously, and hopefully we'll have better luck with them this time than we did in Pullman, but they present some problems to us just as they do to other teams in the conference. Washington State, in talking about them, I think the first thing we have to address is their pressure defense in the half court. Their bread and butter is their man-to-man, and the thing that they do in this, and I looked at our basic 1-4 set to set it, is that they deny every entry pass you can make. They do a good job of playing the passing lanes, and they're very, very aggressive. They, if you drive the ball, they try to get in front of you and take charges. They help each other out, and they just work extremely hard at the defensive end. They force a lot of turnovers and disrupt your rhythm of your offensive pattern. The thing that they have which helps them to do this is very good team quickness. They have an influx of transfers and new players which has brought their talent level way up and their quickness level even further up than that. And coupled with this, the excellent coaching they're doing, and they're a very formidable team, one that's second in our conference now and one that has built it from the defensive end. And they are going to be a very tough opponent. Hopefully we'll be able to generate some offense against them.
Thursday night, it all begins, though, with the Huskies, the rematch at Gill. Now, that was one of the better OSU efforts of the year, coming from behind, some big three-point shooting late. The Huskies are always a little hard to figure out because Len Nance is using a lot of different people right now, different combinations. They really made Stanford work on Sunday for that one-point victory.
Well, they had a chance to win that. They were up 9 late in the second half, and they hit a cold shooting drought there, and all of a sudden they end up losing right at the buzzer. But they are a good team. They're well coached. I think Nance has them working very hard. They have great athletes, and they're experienced. So I'm a little confused still to this day why they're not getting more wins.
Now, Merritt and Meekins are getting a lot of work. Deion Brown has kind of been 50-50, and of course there he is right there. He's really the explosive one.
Right. He's a great jumper. He's a little bit like our Mario Jackson in regards to explosive power. But they have a solid team. They play kind of a matchup zone like they are in right now against Stanford here. And I don't know. They're a team that can catch you real quick, and you have to be careful with them. They're our first opponent, and that's our most important game.
And of course, this is the get well game. You're home. I mean, everything's pointing in your direction, and you've got to let your guys know that, too.
We have to get a change of momentum, and that means we have to get a win. It's a big weekend in regards to Oregon 5-5, us 5-5, and the Cougars 7-4. So if we can get a sweep, we're right back up in that upper echelon.
And again, Stanford and Cal at 6-6. That's all that's ahead of you. They're only ahead of you, and they played the two more. They have 2 games in hand.
Well, they have to go. They're going to meet UCLA and SC in the Bay Area. So right there could be some juggling around too. So this is a very important weekend.
Again, the Husky game is on Thursday night. The Cougar game is a Saturday night game. Very rare. It's a live TV game on Saturday night, 8 o'clock start. Just touching on the Cougs a little bit more. They've got the speed and the pressure, and they almost have a way of intimidating teams. They did that to Cal, I thought, early on last weekend, where they'll come at you early and they hit you hard, and they've really surprised teams this year. Do you feel like you know what you're at least to expect now?
Well, we know what to expect because they have quickness and they play the passing lanes and they run you out of your offense and force you to go one-on-one, and all of a sudden you don't have an offense. Plus they have great outside shooters. They have 3 or 4 of the best three-point shooters. So they come down and they take your offense away and they come down and hit a 3 on you. So all of a sudden you lose by 22. They're a very, very deceptive team and a team that you have to get ready to play.
Well, that'll do it for this week. Our thanks again to Lori Cavill for letting Bob out tonight. We'll be back next week to recap the Cougar and the Husky game, so join us next time on The Jimmy Anderson Show.
If this were the only reason to come to Alabama, it'd still be worth every minute. But in Alabama, you'll find one surprise after another. Enough surprises to fill a vacation. Enough memories to last a lifetime. For your free book of surprises, call us toll-free right now. Alabama. Special moments you want to keep forever.
This Saturday, Sports Channel presents the best basketball in the Bay Area and the best in the country. The action starts at 8 when 2 of the West Coast Conference's top scorers go head-to-head. Ray Taylor and Santa Clara take on Tim Owens and USF. Then at 10, number 20 New Mexico State gives number 1 UNLV its toughest Big West test yet. Can New Mexico State stop All-American Larry Johnson and the Runnin' Rebels? Find out only on Sports Channel. Saturday night, Santa Clara plays USF at 8, followed by New Mexico State at UNLV at 10.